Hey guys, come with me to the Chinese store to get some protein that I'm going to use for a soup named Ofe Owerri, aka the rich man soup. So I went to the Chinese store to get protein, shrimps, and some beef. So here I have my cocoyam and I have my okazi leaf, dried okazi leaves. I had to soak it. Here I have spinach, okazi leaf, some shrimps, some dry fish, some crayfish. I have my ogiri, very important, and I have the cocoyam, which I've blended with some palm oil. And here I have the protein, which I'll be using for the soup because Ofe is a soup that you need to use a lot of protein for. So yeah, I added the dry fish into the soup and I'll allow it to cook for some minutes, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. I think I allowed it to cook for. Ofe, you can't just go wrong without adding a lot of protein. You need to add a lot of protein. A lot of obstacles is what makes Ofe the soup. There are a lot of songs dedicated to this soup, but I decided to try it out today because, well, why not? I'm married to an Owerri man, so what is I have to make the soup. It's a must. So now I'm adding my dry pepper because for you can't use the fresh pepper. It's mostly for a lot of Nigerian soups. It's always nice to use dry pepper. So I added dry pepper and I put a lot. Why not? Because I'm Nigerian. So I put in like 2 spoons of the dry pepper and then I decided to go in with the crayfish. I had blended it, I just pounded it in that because it makes my life more easy. So I added the crayfish and I had to stir it in. And then I'm going to let it cook for some time. So I decided to add a little bit more water because I know it was a little bit thick. So I added the water and then, no wastes. I had to also rinse the mortar and then add some more water into the soup. So I'm going to allow it to cook for some time. Another 5 minutes, let it come to a boil. And then after that I'm going with some palm oil. Very essential too. What is a Nigerian soup without palm oil? I mean, come on. So allow that to boil for some time as well. I stir. Now my soup is coming together. I like to simmer for some minutes. Then I'll go in with the pounded cocoyam. Now guys, this is the step you don't want to miss because you don't want your soup to be all runny and watery, right? So you need something to like thicken the soup. So that's why we use the cocoyam. The other thickness like achi, but for the flavor and the taste, right? The cocoyam is actually the best. You can also use yam. Some people use yam, but that authentic Ofe Owerri, you can use the cocoyam. I use the fresh cocoyam as well. I have the powdered cocoyam, but I didn't want to go with that, so that's why I decided to buy the fresh one and just mash it up and put it into the soup. So it's going to be thickener for the soup, so that way it's thick and not runny. You understand? So then I allowed it to cook for some time. I checked on the soup again to see, if the lumps of the cocoyam was actually dissolving. I noticed like it was already dissolving into the soup, so that's a good sign. And my soup is gradually getting thick. But I think I didn't record it, but I had to add. I didn't put all the cocoyam in the first place, so I added more eventually later, but that was off camera. So I had to wipe because I like a clean space. I don't know if I'm the only one that's clean as I go, but anyway, it's a good habit Now here I come in with the giant prawns. Oops, some spilled on the gas. So I put in the giant prawns into the soup. For you need a lot of obstacles. I don't even think my soup did justice. A lot of people, there are some people that when they want to cook this soup, they go like bonkers. They use snail, they use shrimps, they use beef, they use cow leg, they use goat's meat, everything. Whatever you have, you just use it to make the soup very rich because that is the whole point of this soup. Ofe is for people that are working hard. So if you're a hard worker, you feel like, oh, you want to, you feel like you need to treat yourself or you deserve to treat yourself to something nice, then Ofe is one of the soups you can actually make. And then you feel like, oh, yes, I'm eating my money. I'm the one working for the money. So let me enjoy myself. Not like, but yes, here I had to check on the soup again to see, how the prawns are doing. And I use fresh prawns. It's actually better than using, because here they normally have the cooked prawns as well, but I didn't go for the cooked prawns. I prefer to use the fresh prawns, so that way the taste and the flavor of the prawns also gets in the soup. But when you use the cooked prawns, I just feel it's just, everyone has a reference, but I prefer the fresh ones, so that way I get all the taste, like it goes into the soup. And yeah, so here I come in with the ogiri. So ogiri, it's like a native, just like the way you have other seasoning here. Like you have some seasoning for Nigeria or my country. Ogiri, it's also a seasoning, just like it makes the food taste nice, like gives it that native flavor, right? Into seasoning, so it's like a spice. It makes the food taste really good. So I go in with that so my soup can have that very nice flavor and taste, right? And then I'll still let it cook for some time, about 5 more minutes. One thing about cooking Nigerian soup, you need to have patience. You need to stir, you need to let it come to a boil, so that way all the flavors, marry each other in the pot. You know what I mean? So now I like to steam for some time. And then I'm going to check on the soup again. So now the soup is coming together. You can see it's getting thick. That's the way you want it to be, not watery. It's very important. So apparently I removed the shrimps because I don't want it to be too hard, because the whole secret of shrimps, or how to cook it to be very nice, you don't need to overcook it, because when you overcook it becomes too hard and it's like tough. So I put it in the first time, then I took it out and then I put it back. So here I go in with some seasoning. This is I use no. So I go in with some seasoning. I added some salt as well for tastes. But I used a little bit of salt, same as the seasoning. Why? Because when I cooked the meats, I had used some salt and some seasoning. So I had to be very careful, so that way it's not, salty, or, I just had to find the balance. I know I'm not really giving measurement of what's the quantity. Man, you just need to eyeball the measurements of whatever you want to use. So here now I go with the dry okazi leaf. This is also a style of Ofe Owerri, because you can't cook Ofe Owerri without okazi leaf. So I put in the okazi leaf because I had to soak it for some time, so that way it's not too hard. It's a little bit soft. Well, like let it loosen. If I was back home, I would have used the fresh one, but we make do what we have in abroad. It's the life. So here I put in the okazi leaf and I stir the soup together again. And then next I'll go in with the spinach. So normally, if I was back home, I would have used ugu, but again, we're in abroad, so we make do of what we have. So the closest thing to ugu is spinach. So I put in some spinach as well. So for you don't need so much, vegetables. You need to keep it as, minimal as much. You don't need to make it so much, because when it's so much, it's, it's not really, you're not cooking vegetable soup. So that's why I have to put a little of the spinach, as well that okazi leaf. So I'll combine it together. So once you put in the spinach and the okazi leaf, the idea is not to overcook it. At this stage, just maybe 1, 2, or 3 minutes, and that's it. The soup is ready. So here I'm going to show you how it looks like. You can see how the soup looks. Oh my god, it looks so nice, and it also tastes so good. So good. So here, this is the finished product of my Ofe Owerri, aka rich man soup. So that is it. That is how I make my Ofe Owerri. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Biano biarima, biano biangoma, biano biariela mo Ofe Owerri, oguze meke oruola, biano biarima, biano biango, biano biariela mo Ofe oguze meke oruola, biano biarima, umochame biano biarima, umakoro biano biariela mo Ofe Owerri.